Most people think they're pretty good judges of character, but research shows us that we're barely equal to chance. That's why people misjudge people, they miss red flags, and they just get burned. Today, we're going to teach you specific tools, strategies, and techniques to make sure that you're assessing people accurately. So the first thing that I want to teach you is to stop listening to what people say and watch their actions. There's a great old quote that says, as I get older, I listen less to what people say and I watch them more closely. That's what I want you doing. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I don't know if that's true or not, but if you see me do that thing, that's real. I say I'm going to do something, right now that's a fiction. When I finish doing that thing, that's real. That's the better way to assess people, not by what they say, but by what they do. Now, quick caveat. A lot of what I'm going to teach you inside this training is going to be a little bit controversial. What do I mean by that? It means, hey, you're going to be writing me in the comments saying, hey, Paul, that's wrong. That's not accurate. That's not always true. I know that. What I'm doing is I'm trying to take you from that 50-50 average to higher averages. Virtually never 100%. You're just trying to get more accurate. Wouldn't it be great if when you thought something about somebody and you were adding that into your assessment, that you were accurate in the 80 or 90 percentile instead of in the 50% or below? So when I say something, it's probably going to mean that, hey, about 80% of the time, that shows that the person is like this. But let me read that backwards to you. 20% of the time, you got it wrong. But I'd rather be right 80% of the time and wrong 20% of the time than our current state, which is I'm right 50% of the time and I'm wrong 50% of the time. I just increased my accuracy up 30%, or what's that, about 60% overall. Great. Now I'll be much more accurate in my assessment of people. Here's your first tool to tell if somebody's trustworthy or a liar. Trustworthy people are very consistent. When they tell you a story, the story rarely, if ever, changes. With liars, because the thing never happened, it's only in their imagination. Their imagination shifts over time more than memories do. And they're trying to remember their old lies, and they can only remember bits and pieces. It's not as complete as a true memory. So little details will change over time. They'll be telling a story about a guy came over to me at the bar, and he said this, in a red shirt. The next time he tells it, the guy came over to the bar, and he said this, wearing a blue shirt. One time the story is in the morning. The next time it's in the afternoon or it's in the evening. How can you miss a detail like that? Why are these details shifting? 80% of the time or more, probably closer to 90% of the time, that's somebody that's lying to you. I want to tell you about my Life Transformation Academy. I've set up a membership site where for a small monthly fee, you can go in and you can get all my best trainings. I mean, these are 3-sectional trainings. So health, wealth, and happiness. I want to have you be healthy and fit. We're going to go over health and fitness strategies, even anti-aging strategies, take you back 10, 20, even 30 years in age. Perfect. Then we're going to teach you wealth strategies, how to make money, save money, invest money. Beautiful. Then we're going to help you be happy, do the checkup from the neck up, understand yourself, understand others, be happier, have more peace, more joy, more serenity, more psychology tools like you're learning here today. When you got those 3 areas covered, your life is good. And I just lay it all out for you. I just give it to you. It's fast, it's simple, it's easy, it's condensed. I'll go ahead and leave the link in the description below. If it's something you get excited about, join us and I'll see you there. The next skill is to watch the actions, not the words. We talked about this earlier, so I want to give you a specific tool for it. See, everybody sounds very confident that they're going to do the thing. People that aren't going to do it, and they're very inconsistent and or they're actual liars, they're untrustworthy, and they're not going to do the thing, they sound like they're absolutely going to do it when they say it. So do good, trustworthy, honest people that have every intention of doing it, and they're probably going to follow through in very high percentages. Everybody sounds confident when they're saying it. But do they actually do the thing? Now, sometimes you can't wait for them to do this large thing. So the best way to check to see if somebody is trustworthy, which means worthy of trust, is to test. Testing people. Do small tests. Somebody says, hey, I'm always going to be there for you. Say, great. Give me a quick text when you get home. How long does it take to do a text? How hard is it to do a simple text? If they can't do that, are they going to show up when it's really important to you? Say, hey, send me that link later for that article that you talked about. That'd be really great if I had that information. And then see if they send it or not. If they won't do the small things, they sure as heck will not do the large things. Do micro testing. People always say to me, Professor Paul, how can I tell if somebody's lying? Now, entire books and trainings and seminars have been written on this. But let me give you a very simple tool, a very simple strategy that virtually anybody can use, and it tends to be more true than what the gurus give you or any specific strategy, because a lot of the strategies are based on, say, somebody doesn't maintain eye contact. Well, what if that's a normal behavior for them, that they're just kind of ADHD and their eyes flit around? They say, well, that's, somebody's avoiding your eye contact because they're lying to you. No, that's not necessarily true. That may be their normal behavior. So here's your technique. It works the opposite of these set strategies. What you do is you figure out what is somebody's normal baseline behavior. If when I'm relaxed, which means I'm probably very comfortable, I'm not under any stress, and therefore I'm not telling any lies, I just kind of sit here like this, and I'm very relaxed in my chair. I don't talk too fast. My voice doesn't get too elevated. My gestures aren't too fast. If that's my normal baseline, when I'm just kind of sitting in a room, having a normal conversation with you, and we're not talking about anything that I would ever have to lie about, that is your baseline for Professor Paul. If all of a sudden my eye contact gets shifty and, my shoulders go up and my eyes start darting around the room and I start talking, I get a little louder and I get a little more, I start umming and ahhing and these types of things, I'm off my baseline, then I'm probably lying to you. Or at least something is going wrong in my life, right? Something is off. Now, if I'm a nervous type of person and I'm kind of ADHD and I'm high energy and hey, nothing wrong with that, and my eyes are flitting around, I'm talking like this and I'm always moving my shoulders and, my hands are always flailing around. I like to talk with my hands, great stuff like that. And then you say, hey, Paul, did you take the car keys out of the cabinet when you weren't supposed to? And I go, not me. See how my baseline behavior changed? But if I said, hey, Paul, no, I would never take those keys out of the cabinet. Maybe they're just, you left them on the table or something like that. My baseline behavior looks about the same. Then I'm probably telling you the truth. So when there's no reason for them to lie, get the baseline behavior, notice this, and then look for any subtle change when you're asking them a serious question to see if they're lying. Let me ask you a question. What is the greatest predictor, bar none, of future behavior? That's right. It's past behavior. That's why people look at resumes. They look at histories. Most people change very slowly over time, if at all, short of going to therapy or having a trauma. Those are the only two things that really cause rapid change. So the way people have done things in the past, with 98% accuracy, that's how they're going to do them in the future. They say, oh, I'm different, I've changed, I'm not going to do that, don't worry, I'll come through this time. If they didn't come through yesterday, they're probably not going to come through today, tomorrow, or the next day. I'm telling you, it's wildly accurate. Hey, if you're loving this content, go ahead and like and subscribe to make sure that you get all our content. Look down through my playlist to gain any other specific tools, strategies, and techniques that you need to accelerate your success in life. And go ahead and leave me a comment below. Tell me about what you'd like for our next video or any challenges you have or your thoughts on this video. We love to hear from you. Most people that are liars, untrustworthy, or just unworthy in general, they are very careful and very polished about how they treat you. But how do they treat other people around them? The garbage man sweeping the floor, the waiter serving them their food, somebody standing next to them in line. If they don't treat them as well as they treat you, then they're treating you falsely. And how they treat the other person, that's real. How they treat you is a facade. It's a facial mask. It's a social mask, they call it. It's a lie, it's a fiction, and it's not who they are. Now, a corollary of that technique is this one. If people talk to you, they will talk about you. So, if they're gossiping about somebody else, when they get some information from you, they're also going to share that with somebody else. Remember, People who gossip to you will gossip about you. The way they treat that person when they're not in front of them is the way they're going to treat you with other people when you're not in front of them. This is amazingly accurate. The only time this is kind of inaccurate is with one or two people in your life. Like maybe my best friend and my wife, or maybe my parents. Those are probably about the three people that I would talk about other people. And I'm not gossiping, I'm just being wildly accurate, but I will talk about those people. Where normally with anybody else, anybody I know, bosses, coworkers, other friends, anybody that I encounter, I would never say those things. And the only reason I'm saying them to these people is because I want to tell them accurately what's going on in my life or accurately what's happening with that person, sometimes to help that person. But I'm not gossiping per se. And I know these people will never spread it. A true gossip shares this information with everybody. I'm going to share with you a strategy for assessing people that my Kung Fu instructor taught me. He told me an old Zen quote. It simply stated that a master shows his art in his every move. What does that mean? It means people are constantly being who they are. So you can extrapolate from little things that people do, true beliefs and value systems, larger beliefs and value systems. Like when I was first dating my wife. She would go around and she made sure that everybody felt comfortable and everybody felt good. Serving other people was one of her values. It made her feel good and it showed that she was a good person. That's good information from a very small caveat of behavior over a very short period of time. But you could see that it was essential to who she was. She would serve us a nice meal. But then when we were done, she would ask us if she wanted seconds or thirds or fourth. She liked to over-ingratiate a little bit. Not necessarily a bad quality, but it was a quality, and I noticed that it happened over and over again at time. It wasn't just, first date nerves. So that's a quality that she had. Third quality that I noticed, again, the master showing who they are in their every movement. I finished up a sandwich, but I only ate like half of it because she gave me like 3 different things. And then she gave me this whole sandwich. And I'm like, well, I can only eat like half of this. I'm sorry. And she's like, no problem. And what she did was she very carefully wrapped it up, made sure it was sealed, and put it away in the fridge. Now you'd say, what does that tell you about anything, Paul? It tells me that she saves and she does not waste. See how these little funny things, wrapping a sandwich, what does that mean? It means something. Every little thing means something. If you say, why would somebody wrap that sandwich? They don't waste food. They're economical. They want to save money. Perfect. Because if I ever married this woman, and yeah, she's my wife, so I guess I did, I wouldn't want her blowing all my money. I don't mind spending my money, but I don't like wasting my money. So she was showing me that she could be, logical and frugal with the funds that we had. What you'll do with the sandwich, you'll also do with your money. See how you're extrapolating? At least that's the hope. And again, you'll be about 80% accurate. So every little thing that people do says something. Like when we were dating, I would walk around and I would open the car door for her. Then when I parked, I would go and get the car door for her. Why? I thought she was worth the extra effort and I was a gentleman. If I'm going to be honorable while I'm dating, I'm probably going to be honorable as a husband. I'm also going to be honorable in my affairs, and I'm going to be honorable with other people. And honor and character must have something to do with Paul Klein. This was good information for her as she's doing her assessment. So, little things that people do, notice the value that's behind them, and then you can extrapolate them out. You can globalize it into the bigger picture. Look, everybody likes to put their best foot forward. But there's a certain time when you can't do this, when there's pressure, when there's conflict, when there's uncertainty going on. That's when you see how people are. They say, you don't know how strong a tea bag is until you put it in hot water. Under these conditions, are they still going to be nice, reasonable, trustworthy, kind, understanding, forgiving? Are they going to do this when there's something for them to lose, or there's pressure, or there's uncertainty? Or do they change? Do they become fearful? Do they become less trustworthy? Do they start looking out for themselves instead of you? Who do they put first, second, third, and fourth? You'll only notice these things when there's something to lose, when there's some stakes, when something goes wrong. That is one of the truest tests of a person's character. Here's the 3 C's of whether or not you know somebody's trustworthy and is going to come through. Consistency. Do they say what they are? Do they do what they say they're going to do consistently over time? Second C, character. Are they a person of good character? What do they do when they're under pressure? Do they follow through? Are they showing their character in their every action? And then finally, caring. Trustworthy people, people that are going to come through, are good, kind, and loving. They're good, kind, loving, caring people. So if they have those 3 qualities, yeah, that's a pretty trustworthy person, and I would feel pretty comfortable trusting them in virtually every situation with a high level of confidence. Now, to wrap up, here's the last reason why people are so inaccurate with other people. 2 reasons. 1, we say, why did that person do that? And the answer they come up with is, why would I do that if I was doing that? And that is entirely wrong. No. Why is that person, based on their thought systems, their values, and their beliefs, who they are, why are they doing that? That is the correct answer. And the second thing is, we always like to think the best of people. So we tend to evaluate them probably a little bit higher than we should. Unless you're paranoid, then you tend to rate them a little lower than you should. But hey, know yourself. And finally, one last thing. We tend to misjudge people because we're just a little bit confused about what we want and what's going on. Sometimes we so want something to work out that we misjudge people. We want things to work out a certain way. We don't want to lose our faith in people. We add in a lot of emotional things from ourselves that is not logical. So what you have to do, and this is really hard, I'm asking you to do a very hard thing here, completely eliminate yourself and just look very coldly, very logically at this person. Who are they? What's going on? Almost like looking at a bank account. You want to see how you're doing financially? Let's count. Let's look at the balance. Let's look at the total. Not what you think the total might be, not what you hope the total might be, not what you wish the total might be. Geez, wouldn't it be great if the total was this? Cold, hard logic and numbers. Who is this person? When I take all the emotionality out of it, I use strict rationality. Who's that person? That is going to be the most accurate answer. Hey, if you're loving this training, I got another one for you. I got it through my Udemy site, and I'll go ahead and I'll put the link in the description below. It's the coolest thing ever. It's called Secrets of Psychology, Why People Do the Things They Do. And I'm telling you, until you understand why people do the things they do, you're never going to understand anybody else. So why not nail it down and get it all inside of one course? Here's the second cool thing. When you learn why people do the things that they do, you're also going to learn a treasure trove of why you do the things that you do. And you never realized that's why you were doing them. So it's not just an exploration of other people, it's an internal exploration of yourself, and it's absolutely fascinating. I'll leave the link in the description down below. You can grab it on the cheap. If I have a coupon, I'll throw it in there, but typically coupons are only good for a couple of days. Finally, I like to think that people that come here, they're intelligent people, they're good, they're kind, they're loving, they just want to do better in life. People like that, they have good, kind hearts. They want to believe the best in people. But like I said, to be accurate, you got to remove the emotion from it and just look at the person. Do that and you'll do great. And keep studying my trainings. Go ahead and look down through my playlist. You'll find other trainings that will talk about accuracy and assessment and how emotions work and all the things that you need to do to become more accurate in your assessments. My name is Professor Paul, and I'll see you in my very next training.